All right. Hi, everybody. It's November. That means it is the month of the Christmases, which makes me very excited. So I have my little horns on to celebrate, which you can't really see in the frame. So let me fix that a little bit so it's not quite as annoying. Perfect. All right. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome day. It is the 2nd of November. October was eaten by the shipping monsters because that was just a whole thing. I do seem to have a good workaround that has been shipping quite quickly. It's a little bit more expensive, but I'm eating that cost. And we'll see how that goes going forward. But so far, so good. I have, I think, 10 boxes that got stuck in the whole shipping thing. So I've replaced 9 of those. One of those is the Masters, and hopefully they move this week. They've been starting to slowly move out. So just waiting. It's a waiting game. But anyway, I'm going to cover some studio stuff, updates on general stuff, as well as the topic for today is the comparison trap and how to avoid it. Because with the world of social media and having everything out there, it is very hard to not get sucked into the idea of these people are better, I just shouldn't even try. The amount of emails that I get about that, where people are like, you're just so good, like, why would I even attempt to start, let alone improve myself or any of it? So that is hugely important in the world that we live in today. So I will address that a little bit later. And I have a cool, fun studio tidbit that I will show you. All right. It is the time. I have some updates. The Jug Lifes are casting quite well and cleaning quite well. So they come out real nice. And then I, of course, try and get rid of as much as I can for prepping for you. This one's got a hole in his butt that I got to fill because that's where we pour into, and it's not solidifying properly because of our pour thingy, but that's okay. That's something that you won't really notice in the finish casting. So that is kind of cool to see where things go in. They are hollow cast, so the middle, obviously, the hole indicates that they're hollow. They are quite light, which is nice. He's actually a really good size for handling and painting, so that'll be very cool. I have all of the paid in full now orders ready and cast up. So I'm waiting on the swag, and then I can start shipping things out, but they are getting pretty close to ready to go out. I should have all of the paid in full when ready to ship orders pretty well on the roster for the next week or two. And then, yeah, we'll be rocking into new sales and payments and all that stuff, which will be kind of fun. And it'll be cool to see them all painted up. So that is neat. Hopefully everybody can hear me because I just ranted for a while. We have Kinsey in the chat. Hello, Kinsey. Jody. Hi, Jody. Hi, Brenda. Welcome. Amy. Good morning. I tried to, I don't know if it's better to remind you really early or like right before, because sometimes you never know. We have Robin. Hello, Robin. Holly. Hello, Holly. They're a lot bigger than you thought they would be. Like for the, so this is Probably. He was oversized. So the original Juggernaut was actually a large traditional scale. And then this guy's classic. But because he's so when you see them together, it looks a lot smaller. But he's actually quite a nice size. He'll still be tall on a shelf. He should hopefully clear most shelves, but I know for face scale, he's doing pretty good. It's the stretching out that makes him look extra large, but yeah, he's a good size. So he's not quite as small as I think you were thinking, but that's kind of neat. Hopefully that's not going to cause any shelf problems for people. What? Yeah. And then you can see some red leftovers from the primer in his base. And that'll work out of the mold as I cast a couple more. So we should have nice white clean bases soon, but it's just taking some cleaning because of how the primer decided to go on the base. But yeah, that's the thing. Lizzie, hello, welcome. You're not that late. It's all good. I started at 11:48, I think. So only been chatting for a minute. Let me see. Holy juggies, there's so many. I know, he's casting so nice. So I think there's 10 back there. 4 and 6. Yeah, 10. So there's 10 that I have out of the mold so far. And I should have 20 by the end of the week. Well, more than 20. We'll see how many casting days I get in this week. But yeah, I have the 10 ready to go. And then, yeah, it should be fun. I can sometimes get between 4 and 10 a day, depending on how much I'm casting and how intense I go. It's quite the process, and it takes quite a while to clean them up as well. We were doing our art hangout yesterday, and that was super fun, by the way. And I ended up cleaning 2.5 and 4 hours because our chat went a little overtime because it's me and us and we have a good time. So we were talking about hobby stuff and kind of visions for the hobby and how to make things better and what we'd like to see and where, I don't know, it's just a whole bunch of really cool stuff. And I enjoy it. But it ended up being supposedly 2 hours and then we went to 4. So it happens. And people drop in and drop out as it works for them. So kind of fun. Nice chugs. I need a shirt that says that with juggernauts on it because I don't have it anymore. I'm late. I had Christmas decorations up before Halloween. I am that monster. We have a lot of really cool Christmas decorations, holographic prismatic deer and stuff, and a really cool lizard. I should actually pull the lizard up. Christmas lizard. But I like getting in the spirit of it because by the time it comes, it's gone. And yeah, it's also a reminder that it does come eventually. Canvas Christmas lizard decoration. Oh, come on. Okay. Prepare your beings for the adorableness that is this lizard. Oh, not an ad. Look at him. Look at him. Actually, it's a her. They called it Gigi, I guess, but it's super adorable. So we have a cute little Christmas lizard. And there was no way of getting around the fact that it's a Christmas lizard. You could put other stuff on it, but it's got his little ninja mitts every time. We had him inside the house for a while because he had to build him inside. And I'd walk by and be like, doo-doo-doo, with his karate chop hands. So cute. They also have a little Corgan because Corgan, but we don't have him. We just have the lizard. And it sits right below where Blue lives. So it's kind of funny when people walk by that know that Blue lives there because there's the Christmas lizard underneath the lizard. It's kind of fun. So that is that. Christmas lizards are awesome. And it's never too early for jingle bells. That's actually how I used to work in retail. Oh God, my chair needs grease. I used to work in retail and I would love wearing jingle bell earrings because it didn't matter how crazy your day got or how angry you were. The little jingle bells would just make me happy. And all I'd have to do is go ching, ching, ching. And my day was better. Whatever moment I was having was better. So I should just wear jingle bells the whole year because why not? Tamarion, welcome. You did make it on time. I'm not sure about anybody else, but earlier the reminder better for me. Okay. Yeah. Well, and it's not harmful for me to do earlier and then right before. And yeah, see how that goes. Pam Tansy, hello. Lizzie, reminder for what? What I missed? Just a reminder for the stream. So I posted that the stream was coming at 11. I don't even know. All my clocks are wrong now because of the time change. 10:45. Why is my clock so wrong? No. So my computer should have updated. It says 12 and my phone says 11 and the clock on I hate this time of year. So yeah, anyway, it was just a reminder for the stream. The corgi's so cute. They also have Cobra chickens. Where are the Cobra chickens? Let me find the Cobra chickens. We must appreciate them before we go. Christmas. And they will sing you the sound of their people. There's also squizzles. So there's squizzles. Where did the Cobra chickens go? They're there. And there's a raccoon, which is super cute. But look at the chickens. The one screams. It is wonderful. I've been this close to buying those a few times because they're just adorable. So yeah, that exists. Pop out. Amy says, oh my God, I'm the same. In high school, I would wear jingle bells on my shoes too during the holidays. It just makes life better. The sound. There's no way you can be glum when your head jingles or your feet jingle or whatever. So yeah, I am that elf monster. It works out very well. Brenda, I've been up since 4:30. Trendy had to go to Calgary for a flight to the US for a course. Oh, that's so early. Sometimes I get up about that time with Chris because he gets up at around 4:30 and then goes to work. And yeah, then I'm productive in the morning sometimes, but it takes me it feels like longer to wake up when I wake up earlier. And then I don't get as much done sometimes. Depends on the day. We fell back in time. Oh, Amy says, hi, Nash. He's like, I'm going to lay down on my couch. Nasho. He's like, no, I'm sleeping. He's been off his rocker. We've been letting him into the dog park with some other dogs because we found an area that's really good and nice for them. So they've been hanging out and playing, and he's starting to learn how to play. And he tried to make sounds at another dog because he doesn't really bark very much. We think he probably had a shock collar on at some point because he wouldn't even bark around us. We've had to teach him to bark and to speak because otherwise he does weird things when he barks. So I'll get that checked out by the vet because he'll bark and then he does a weird thing with his tongue. So yeah, anyway, he kind of was trying to like make play noises at other dogs and he was whining and he's not sure how to interact yet. So we're trying to socialize him so that he can do things. But this dog park has really good people that go to it and there doesn't seem to be a lot of bad apples, which is nice. I'm kind of cautious because heard of so many bad experiences at dog parks, but that's okay. He is enjoying it, and that is the point. He loves playing with the Goldens, and he loves playing with the Border Collies, anything that runs. Poodles like to try and dominate him, so he doesn't like poodles very much, but it's kind of funny. It's like, you are tall. I will find the biggest dog in the dog park, and you will be my friend. So yeah, all the Medallion Club boxes for the most part, except for the 9 that had issues that are still stuck, which I sent replacements out for. They all have moved and most of them have arrived. The Sticker Club stickers went out, and the new stickers should be going out right away here. I should be getting them hopefully tomorrow, and then I can send them off. Canada Post is tentatively functional. They put out warnings saying that they're probably going to be bigger issues during the holidays because yay. But I should be able to get at least the stickers out reasonably easily. And then using this alternative shipper chit chats to get things into the US instead of DYK. Because I love DYK. I've used them for 7 years, but the lack of ability for them to communicate, even if it's hard, is challenging. And I've gone through that myself with the biter situation. And I know how hard it can be to try and be investing your time in getting things solved and moving, and it can be hard to sometimes address those issues. So I can appreciate that, but at the same time, my responsibility is to you guys and making sure stuff moves. So I will be, at least for now, changing shippers to one that seems to be a little bit more reliable. The paperwork stuff going across the border is a pain in the butt. So it makes things extra complicated because you almost need to be a broker to understand the broker language to get things across, because they're like, this is under penalty of like, not perjury, but fraud, I guess, if you claim things as the wrong stuff going across the border, and they make all kinds of legal mumbo jumbo that is hard to understand. So, anyway, I'm working through it, and I don't know. DYK said that they're not able to accept anything that's FDA at all. So that means all treats of any food variety are no longer allowed to cross the border. And there's severe restrictions on things made in China. So there's limitations on what is able to ship across the border. There have been a bajillion massive drug busts. So I'm assuming that a lot of this has to do with that and clearing up the fentanyl and other things that are crossing the border. There were barrels of precursor materials coming into Canada so that people could make drugs. We are not the most innocent country. It may look like we're polite and kind and wonderful, but there's a lot of shady stuff that goes on up here under the guise of us being just polite Canadians. And hopefully that gets cleaned up because it's good for our population too. So I will take the pain if it helps save lives and gets rid of that problem, because it's a whole other kettle of fish. But I think that's probably a lot of the reason why things are problematic crossing the border. If you find a horse that's sawed in half, please let me know, because I've heard of that before where they've checked inside of model horses. Hopefully not ones that are not replaceable. But if you ever have any issues, just let me know. Or if your box has been opened and searched and put back together in a way that damaged the model, then let me know and I will replace it or work with you to fix it. Jody, my box arrived and it's all, I love it all. That donk sticker is awesome. Isn't he so cute? I still need to put up that poll to see if you guys want a full sculpture of the little dancing donko, because he's so cute. I don't think I have a sticker of him hanging out on my board, but anyway. Yeah, that's the thing. Other updates. The sticker for this month, speaking of stickers, is going to be made through a different printer that prints in that's a really cool effect. And I don't think anybody's done it in the model horse hobby. And I don't think I haven't seen them around very much at all. So I am super excited to show you what that is when it is ready to go. I'm just finishing up the line art on the design, and then I can get the color in there and get it ordered up for you. But if you love stickers and you love fantasy, this is the People's Choice sticker, which was a combination of the results from the survey that I did. And it is fantasy and it is fantastical. And I think if you love stickers and you love fantasy, you're going to just flip. So, Katie comes in like the Kool-Aid man. What's up, party people? Hi, Katie. I love our chat. Our chat's the best. If you haven't caught this live and you're watching this in the replay, then you need to try and catch it live sometimes, because our chat's the best. Yeah, what else do I got for updates? That is pretty well it. Bombuses are going out as they're paid. Betty Boops are going out as they're paid. You can still order the new ones so if you wanted a Jug Life in classic scale, they'll ship right away. I'm waiting on the masters to arrive with the Opes before they can ship. But you can order that on my website along with Betty Boops, which is the little pony, if you would like. Or join the sticker club, all those good things, because I try to self-promote a little bit in my streams. It's always awkward for me as an artist. It's very hard to do the shameless self-promotion thing because it feels so weird. But yeah, people like the art, so collect the art. And support the artist so that she can feed herself and pay her electrical bills, which are crazy. Anyway, I love you guys very, very much. So yeah. We have an event going on in Canada right now with Briar that I will show you. Let's do it on Facebook. Hoofbeats and Maple Treats, which is the Canadian event that they're doing over on the other side of the country in Toronto, which is not too far from like New York and that, just across the border from some of that stuff. So they're out there doing pony type things. Let me see here. The models for the event were very... Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Interesting choices. So these are very limited runs. We've got the blue run, so I guess you get to pick one blue and then one green and then 2 blue, I think is how it works. So there's Caesar, who is a Alejandro, I think is what we call the mold, because it's the Britian but with the non-hairy legs and the braided mane on this version. It's 48 pieces made, $250 is what they're charging them at the event. I've seen some of them go for $1,000. I think was the pricing that I saw, and around there, about $1,000 or more. And so they're fairly limited. He is looks like some sort of Dunalino. So that would be my best guess for the color. We have the vintage mare and foal, the grazing mare and foal, which are super cute. Trillium and bunchberry. So a bay Sabino mare and then a bay Sabino foal. Super cute. We don't see those molds very often, nor do we see the Shire mare. So this is kind of cool. Queen City, 40 pieces made. I think of the other one, there was 52 pieces made. So the Shire's $325. And then in a chestnut overo. And then you see Pitter Patter, who is a 60-piece edition, $250, and that's on the Hwin mold, or Forever Sage, whichever one you want to call it, in a Appaloosa, which is kind of fun. And then the green ones are Poutine and Niagara. So Poutine is 104 pieces. I don't know why there's more of the one and not as many of the other. But anyway, $200 each. And the sham or Poutine is dark bay Tobiano with gloss. And sham is a matte, darker dapple gray on the sham mold. I think I said sham mold like 500 times. But yeah, so super cool choices. Some weird vintage ones that we wouldn't normally see. And that's probably due to the 75th anniversary. So vintage collectors will probably be either very happy or very sad right now. I kind of think that the mare and foal are super cute. And Poutine. So those would be my favorites out of them. I don't know what yours are. You can say them in the chat. We have fun-filled chaos. Indeed, Katie. That's what we're here for. Amy crying because I need that sage wind for my conga. That will probably be expensive. I think I've seen the Pitter Patter one for 12 as the cheapest, 1,200. So, want sage and sham, says Katie. Lizzie says, I'm so relieved that there's no one I need. Luck is going strong. Just need the Christmas gambler choice, and then we'll be safe. We will see what that ends up being, because they did sneak out that the one was... Oops. I'm hitting wrong buttons. The one was the fighter, and I lost Facebook entirely. Goodness gracious. So they had that. Those models looked pretty cool. Let's see what else I got here. Then we got a peek of the lamp. So this is Vintage Club. Super, super cute. Phoebe, I think this is adorable. I don't know if it's going to be stuck to the base. It probably will be, like the Western horse was to the clock. But super cute little Palomino foal. I really like that mold. It's Kylie's mold. And it's cute as a lamp. I don't know. I think that maybe it's gimmicky, but it's the Vintage Club. And it's part of Briar history. And it's adorable. So there's that. And then the Just About Horses magazine has been arriving in different people's mailboxes. And it kind of spoiled that the winter decorator is going to be Killington. Don't like that name. And Little Killington. Kind of odd for Christmas, but that's okay. So Silver Filigree, we thought that it might be Fireheart. It looks like it is the Fighting Stallion and his little buddy, which is super cute. So it is a set, it looks like. We will see what the Gambler's Choice looks like because it is not listed in the magazine, which is pretty typical. Breyer doesn't tend to list the Gambler's Choice in there because it would give it away. We don't need that. I didn't want to show you this because this is super cute. So we did our decorations all up like Christmas. We had candy canes that we gave away and little Christmas erasers. And we happened to attract a wild Santa while we were giving out our candy, which is kind of fun. So had to get a picture of the Santa while I was inside doing something else. And then there was the table raffle horses. So this is a Big Ben in a bay, glossy bay. And then Infinity Briars, I guess, made all the costumes for them. So each one had different costumes. There's a spider and a scarecrow and a witch and a Dracula. So that's kind of cool. There was a better photo of him sideways. I don't know if I can fix that. Let's see if I can fix that. My computer's like, you saved too many photos. Not allowed. I will flip this and we will have a better experience. Saving. Because they took his costume off and he actually is quite cute. All right. So this is nicely shaded bay gloss Huck, or not Huck, Big Ben, which is very fitting for the event. Big Ben's a Canadian horse. Well, not a Canadian breed horse, but a Canadian famous horse rode by Eamon. Gonna have one of those days, my friends. By Ian Miller as a show jumping horse. I need to enunciate everything so that this works. But super cute. So, yeah, that is a thing that they did. What else? So that'll be today's the last day, I think, for that, and then everybody's headed home. The models are starting to sell because I think they picked them up today. They went to a jumping barn. They went to Woodbine, the racetrack, and yeah, kind of cool. So that's neat. Neat. What else is there for Briar News? I don't know that there were any other things for Briar News. But that is stuff. So I encourage you, if you're enjoying said stream, to hit the like button because it allows other people. Where is it? The like button's probably like there. It allows other people to find the stream and come join us for some fun, especially in the chat. Morgan McLaughlin, hello. I don't know that I've seen you in the streams very often. Welcome. We were talking about Canadian things at the moment. Giving me Dr. Evil and Mini-Me vibes. Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of how I would think of those too. Sarah Jackson, hello. Big Ben is gorgeous in that color. That's a really nice shading to bring out the mold. So kind of cool. It's drawn for via raffle for the table. So one person sitting at the said table will get said horse, which is kind of cool. So it makes them really rare. I think there's 24 or 26 tables. So kind of neat. Briarfest Celebration horse was announced. I think we addressed that last time, but maybe not. I will bring that up. Hold on 1 second. And I will do that. Do-da, do-da, do-do-do-do-do-do. Briarfest Celebration horse. I spelled horse without the E. We'll see if this works. So they did this big goodness. Silence. They did this big video release for it. It's a dressage fjord. She's super cute. So I encourage you to watch the video because it's adorable. But this is the celebration horse that will be at Briarfest performing probably dressage, I imagine. And she's super cute. She's like, oh, we're doing the dancey thing again. Let's see if I can find a picture of the model. Model. Oh, that was cute. I made her run really fast. There's her in action with her trotty trots. It's quite the barn. I wish I had a barn like that. So Corgi Hill Flinka is her name. Let's see if we can find the horse. There we go. So that's the model on the Astrid mold. Super cute. A lot lighter than the one that we saw in the regular run version. I quite enjoy this color in particular on this horse. It'll be cool also to have the mold available for customizers because it makes a really, really cute pony of all different varieties. I like my fjord horses a little chonkier. So while she's cute, I think that the bodies for baby ponies is going to be awesome. So that's a thing. All of a sudden the audio and the video went out of sync and it's hysterical. Oh goodness. I can only imagine what that's like. Has it fixed itself, Joey? I don't know how to fix it. I must have broke it. Oh, Morgan has 3 horses, so she's busy. I bet. That's a lot of ponies to manage. My goodness. Morgan says, I adore her. I'm showing her as half Arab Welsh in dressage. And clearly, I love untraditional dressage horses. I know there's been a lot of them with Buckeye and now her. It's kind of cool to see other breeds performing in dressage. And now we have Western dressage. So very, very cool. It is neat. Oh no, Lizzie, it's doing the thing. Is she actually gray dun? That's what they're saying, is that she's a gray dun. So I'm not a genetic specialist, but I just think the color's cute. I like how muted it is. So it's kind of neat. Oh no. Goodness gracious. Okay, well, my audio is just going to continue to be out of sync because I don't know how to fix that unless it's probably because I have this on. Hold on. Let me remove that and see if that fixes the audio. It was probably because the video had audio. And I'm getting myself messed up because I have been posting the stuff that I've been seeing to the Ravers group on Facebook. And that's Ravens Rad Rock and Ravers on Facebook if you're not in it already. And we post all sorts of crazy stuff all the time. It's kind of fun. People post their stuff they're working on, and then I try and post Briar and stuff updates as I see them come up. Oh no. Me and Gordon will be joining the ranks too. What is Gordon? Tell me in the chat. It's going to be extra hilarious. So we actually went to a friend's house the other day. This is kind of a side story. Went to the friend's house the other day and he has a deaf dog. It's a cute little like bulldoggy pug thing. And she's, poor thing's like terrified. So Chris was warning me, careful, she can bite you. He was like, we can muzzle her. I said, don't muzzle your dog. It's fine. I can deal, especially with a pug thing. It's going to be okay. And I could tell that she was scared and that she wasn't really biting to be aggressive, which can be a little bit more unpredictable, but I had liver treats in my pocket. So, oh, she's a Welshie Arab cross. Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. I didn't realize that she was a cross. So also cute and suits the mold. So yeah, went to this friend's place and I'm a hand talker and he didn't warn me beforehand because I was prepared for anxious like bitey pop, but I was not prepared for hand talking making the dog go psycho. So I was talking like I normally do and my hand talking triggered said dog to ram into me like a giant floor hippo. Didn't bite me, just rammed into me with her head. I was like, all right then. Didn't do it again after that, but because I hand talked the one time, she was like, she'll charge, I guess, at people. And normally she doesn't headbutt people full tilt, but she did. She was like full floor hippo. Bam! It didn't knock me over because she's like this big, but it was hilarious. We ended up being cautious friends by the end of the day because I had liver treats in my pocket and she still wasn't super keen on being pet, but she'd come up and sniff and like hang out, and yeah, it's kind of cool. So anyway. Oh, well, she Arab is your pony. Very cool. Instead of tell me I got dead me in the captions, it does not understand my Canadian accent. So the captions are usually hilarious, and I don't turn them on. Facebook automatically turns them on. So there's the thing. Don't like whatever you said in sign language. I apparently offended said puppy in sign language. So I don't know what I said, but she didn't like it. And then there's me trying to be like, okay, I won't talk with my hands. And then proceeding to talk with my hands and then having the dog be like, what? So anyway, I have a cool studio tool to show you guys before I go on to our topic of the day, which is the comparison one. This is made by Golden. It is a paint tube top opener because sometimes these guys get stuck. But this makes it like ridiculously easy to turn the tubes, especially on the oil paints because they get stuck. And this goes from large size to small size cap. So while you could try and put the small one on the small one, it is better on the one that fits. And then you just clamp it, and then you have your top, and then you can put it back on. It's leverage in science, my friends. So this is super handy. They sell them on their website, and you can find them in a lot of art stores. And I just put those on my board behind me, and then I can open jars when I want to. Very, very cool. Works for anything that's a lid of slightly bigger than this to slightly smaller than that. So if you have any lids that get stuck, then handy to have. My audio is almost lined back up. Oh my God, what happened? I don't understand. So very, very cool. I'll see if I can pull it up on the Golden website. Golden Paints lid opener. Oh, they also sell them on Amazon. That's very handy. Hold on. See if it pops up. Oh, she does. And she's on sale. So this is, I don't know what Honey's like. So for $4, it's on sale for 34% off right now. It's kind of cool. I'll post a link in the chat for all of you wonderful people that are interested. But it is, they call it the Gripper, GRIPR tube opener. That is very, very fun. So let me see. Watch me tap. This is fun. Pardon my typing. Let's see if I can find that. I think I broke my Amazon. My goodness. There we go. Pardon me while I try and get you a link. This is just being difficult today. All right. Here we go. Cool. So that's kind of fun. I try and find little things like that. They have a little tube paint squeezer too that's kind of fun, but that one's been super handy because like the oil paints just get lodged. And sometimes if you get paint on the outside, your lids will get locked and then it's a pain in the butt. So Krista, hello, welcome. Brenda says I need something like that for my alcohol inks. The lids get stuck when I'm trying to do the resin. It might work because this has a hole through the top. So if you do have a lid that has like a top to it, you can Maybe not that big. Nope. Doesn't like that one. But smaller, guys. Then you can fit them through like that because the top goes on the thing. And then my thumb's all messed up, as you guys can tell from me having the thing on it. And the lid comes off. And I just took the lid and the snapper off because why not? But that's kind of nice because otherwise you would have to, if it was just flat on the top, you couldn't have things that have the pokey bit on the top. Oh my goodness. English is not my best language today. So yeah, that's the thing that I'm doing. Let's talk about our comparison thing. I know that I'm probably not the only one that struggles with it and has in the past. So comparison is one of the craziest things with social media because you see all these amazing artists out there. They're producing amazing work. I get emails and PMs so often of people saying, why should I even bother starting if it just makes me want to quit seeing all these awesome people doing awesome work. And I can appreciate that. There's times when I feel like that too. It's like there's so many people doing such awesome stuff that it feels so hard to keep up with, or it feels like they're so much more productive, or they're just getting so much more attention, or whatever that might be. And social media is like the driving factor behind all of it. So learning to navigate through that world and how to have that not affect you deeply is something that'll really help with your artistic being and just in general, because there's a lot of things you can compare yourself to on social media, whether that's people in their relationships, whether that's people and their amazing food that they cook, or their wonderful lives and experiences that they're having, the places they're traveling, the money they make, all that stuff. It's all open season, and a lot of it can be smoke and mirrors too. So you never know what somebody's going through under all of that. They might put on a pretty outside face, but underneath all of that, it could just be crazy. So there's that. And it's definitely a double-edged sword because it gives you the ability to drive yourself and inspire yourself using other people, but you can also definitely use it as a tool to beat yourself up and to demotivate, because it can be a twist. It's a twist of the mind, right? And we've talked about those before, where it doesn't take much to just shift your thinking to go one way or the other. You can feed the good wolf or you can feed the bad wolf, right? And it is, I know, no coffee. I have water. How boring, right? I need more coffee because my tongue is not keeping up. This all messed me up with the time change. But anyway, so let's talk about mindful scrolling and how to kind of curate your feed. I've been able to, over the years that I've been doing some tweaks to my social media. My personal page, as a general rule, is for personal stuff. I don't post to social media very often, just personal things. I also have quite a few people that are waiting in the wings as friend requests. So if I haven't accepted your friend request, it's not normal for me to. I did when I first started, and then I don't usually do that now, just because I don't really post anything to my personal page, and I would rather people follow the studio page, because that's where I post the studio related stuff. So trying to keep some sort, and I can't, if I wouldn't be able to friend everyone, and then there would be a limit, and then people would be mad anyways. So I just stopped altogether. So part of it's that, keeping the personal and the business thing a little bit separate. And then I curate my timeline. Snoozing people is really helpful, because if there's someone out there that is just dramatic and crazy, then you can just snooze them and not see their stuff, or unfollow them and not see their stuff, which is sometimes very helpful, because along with the people doing amazing stuff and you doing the comparison thing, there's also the negativity that comes along with the hobby. And sometimes it's just nicer to not have that, because it's easier, especially when you're learning how to navigate not getting sucked into that, to just quiet it for the moment. Because otherwise it's so easy to just get sucked and pulled the different directions. Once you start learning the core of being able to stabilize your ship, then those waves aren't going to be able to take you too far out of your path. which is super helpful. But being immersed in it all the time is very hard to get out of that. Let's see. What else do I have on my list of things? So you want to curate things that uplift you and kind of down regulate the things that don't. I go through and I find artists that maybe are new to the hobby, follow them, trying to make positive comments on things. The more you do that, the better it actually is for you. It actually feeds your soul to help other people along, even if you can't get anything from them in the future, because that shouldn't be the point of doing nice things. So curating things, a lot of outside of hobby things, a lot of horse pages, horse photography. It's sometimes easier to do that on pages that are less text-based, because the less text-based they are, usually the less crazy comments and drama pop up. But that'll happen everywhere. We kind of have to learn how to deal with all that. Following people that inspire you, and then using that feed to uplift. And sometimes it can be hard to see awesome work and not go, oh, well, I shouldn't even try. I'm never going to get to that level. We all have different flavors, and appreciating our own flavors and the talent and soul that we bring, because as artists, we're bringing ourselves to our art as well. We have that unique stylization that we bring. And a lot of times what people love in our own work, that stylization, that art part, is what we dislike in our work the most. So that's where kind of the challenge can be. And using other people, trying to shift your mindset, and like those wolves, right? Shift that mindset from, oh, that person's amazing, I'm never going to be that good, to what about their work do I like? Do I like how they do hair? Do I need to work on like my eyes and my expression more? Do I really love how they do like all the different tendons and things in the legs? Are they excellent at gesture and the silhouette of the horse? And focusing on those, like break it down into the little steps, and then focus on those little steps for learning for yourself. So that can give you an insight in a positive way, rather than a beating yourself up kind of way of, what can I do better for my art? Like, what is it that I admire in that so much that I would love to bring to my own art? And obviously, without the copying part of things, there's the ability to see something and go, okay, I'm going to study that piece of anatomy more. I'm going to try and make the silhouettes work more. And you can always reach out to these people and say, hey, I really admire this about your art. How did you get so good at this particular thing? Or do you have any tips and tricks on how I can do better? Things like that, because that can really be helpful as well. And it can be challenging to shift that mindset, because especially when we've been so mired in having that voice come up so often, and it usually comes from places that are in our past, previous art teachers or family, people have been very critical of us in the past, become those mean voices that we use on ourselves. And I had my own stuff with that. It's taken a long time to get around it and go, oh, okay, I'm going to use that to strive to do better. And it takes time, and it's a journey, not a destination. So be mindful of that, because you'll never go from beating yourself up to perfect the next day. That's not how it works. It's usually kind of one step forward, two steps back. And then you do the dance of having days where it's bad and having days where it's good. And sometimes maybe focusing less on the people that are really well above your level, if that's super bothersome to you right now, if you're struggling seeing like the top level artists doing really incredible things, maybe you need to curate your feed to be a little bit more in your realm for now, until you can kind of eke those in and start being able to see them positively, because it's like building muscle. You have to build that over time, and the strength develops as you use it. So little micro doses of, oh, okay, that's super cool. Like sometimes seeing the best customs contest entries are like, oh, it's so exciting. It's amazing. Look at all this art. But having one artist in your feed constantly can be a little bit too much, because you see their individual progression rather than one event. That can be also a helpful trick to kind of twist things a little bit. Let's see. Jody says, I can testify about how being engaged with a group of positive hobby people can elevate your mood for days. Also that, join the hobby chats, go hang out with people at a show. Doing things like that can also be recharging, and connecting with the human behind the art can also too, because then you start to realize that we all have struggles. We all go through stuff. Like I said, the people that look like they're doing amazing on the outside, maybe on a personal level, you can see them as human and go, okay, they're struggling with finances or stress or some things that are happening in their lives too. And it's like with people you disagree with, if you connect with them on a human level, it's so much harder to get into those deep, dark emotions, because we're all just human trying to do the best we can. And most of us are willing to help others along the way. And I think that the good always wins. So it's just a matter of kind of attuning yourself to it. And I found that when I went through all my cancer treatments, that I became extra sensitive to a lot of that, because I could feel the difference. When my mind shifted just a little bit, I could feel the slippery slope of the negative and the dark and the depression and the anxiety so much more acutely than I could before treatment. And that still kind of carries on now, because I can, once you felt it, you can always kind of feel it, if that makes sense. So being so much more attuned to that, I could feel, even just when I shifted a little bit more to the positive and going, okay, well, if I can't be happy for these people winning these things or doing these things or accomplishing these things, then maybe I can go support a whole bunch of little people. And maybe that can be the momentum to start to be happy for those people. Because that's another component of it too, is seeing people winning things and doing well and getting the accolades or the projects that you like. People will see other people getting Briar projects and be really upset about that because they want to do a project for Briar. And that can cause a lot of envy and jealousy and things like that. And that can be its own thing in art to deal with, which is very aligned with what we're talking about, that comparison piece. And being able to shift that and learn how to manage that and be happy for other people and congratulate them and celebrate them instead of letting that other voice in. And it takes time. It's, like I said, a journey, not a destination. Amy says, I used to have the same mindset about things like, oh, I wish I had the ability to do resins, or, oh, I wish I could 3D print. And it took me a while to put me in the mindset where that's okay. I will, I'm just not there yet. And that's always a really good take to have. Amy has a lot of good wisdom there, because you look at these things and you're like, oh, I want to do it. And maybe you can't right now. Maybe that is true, but there's always the ability to learn these things and acquire the tools to do it. And our conversation yesterday in the art hangout was really good, because a couple people brought up that there's a lot of barriers to entry for material costs and resin costs, and everything's getting so expensive. But there's a lot of ways to enter the hobby that aren't like that. And there doesn't need to be the gatekeeping at the top where you can't get in here because you don't have all these crazy art supplies. Like the paint behind me, it's not cheap. It's 10 to 30 to 40 plus dollars per tube usually. For some of the oil paints, it's way more. And it can be really intimidating and it can be really confusing. And I don't know that there's a lot of education in the hobby as much as we need it to be, on what the rules are and where the fences are, because we can take a Briar and we can customize it and we can call it our work, or we can replicate a Briar that we love in a certain or a different version, or repaint something to look exactly like an OF, but we can't do that with other artists, and we can't take some people's resins and customize them, but other ones are okay and encouraged. It's a landmine and a landfield, and one of those is correct. And it can be very hard for a newbie to understand that. And I think getting in touch with, for the experienced artists out there, remembering what that was like and who helped us through it and how they helped us through it, rather than just lighting people on fire, is a whole other thing that needs to happen, I think, in the hobby. Being a little bit more compassionate for people, and that golden rule of doing unto others as you would have done to you. And that can be hard from all perspectives, for sure. Let's see. We have Laura Rock Smith. I enjoy following artists not related to the model horse hobby. Also good. I follow lots of stuff. Photography, different mini painting people. And sometimes that's just disjointed enough from where you want to be that it can be a cleaner palette, like a palette cleanser to go and appreciate somebody else's art and be like, oh, okay, that, I don't want to be that, so I can appreciate that, but I want to be that, so it's hard for me to be happy for that and to see it as a good thing. And we're very emotional creatures as artists, so it can be hard to distill all those things. But all of that's super helpful for your own work and critique and things on that later. It all kind of gels together and works together to be able to allow you to weather things a little bit. Whether that's haters and people talking about you, making up rumors, or not placing your art in things, or telling you your art is horrible, or if you do make a briar and a whole bunch of people rip it apart online viciously and mercilessly, right? It's all character building things that will help you as an artist be more resilient, and that helps you in so many more ways. It helps you improve the quality of your work. It helps you improve your productivity. Your mental health is super linked into all of that. Your quality of your art in general improves when your mental health can kind of rest and be okay with everything that's going on, even if people are being nasty, right? And you're never going to be able to rein in or cage and get rid of all those trolls. It's not physically possible. So you kind of have to learn how to work with them. And sometimes your own being can be a troll sometimes. So it's like the trolls in my head telling me all the lies. So it's good. It's good all around, and it helps with more than just your art stuff. It helps with life, like the Stoic type philosophies of doesn't really matter what's going on around. That whole swirling whirlwind of stuff can be happening, and you can be like getting up, making the art, doing the thing. Especially when it's something you love, because as soon as you have something that gets in between you and that thing you love, it's so hard. It affects so many things, your mental health included, right? Am I right? But don't let them take it from you. Donna says, I'm an artist and I think it's important to support other artists, which is why I joined your page and your club. Why, thank you. It is important to support others and bring other artists up, not bring others down. We are all trying to create and be artistic, and while we elevate fellow artists, it's a win-win for everybody. Exactly. And that's exactly the point that I'm trying to get at, because sometimes you can trick yourself into the places you want to be mentally. So if you want to be supportive and loving and you're struggling with that greed, the envy, all that stuff comes up. It's so hard to reframe that, but sometimes you can kind of fake it till you make it, if it makes sense. Go out and be supportive to other people, especially, and there's different ways you can get there, even tricking yourself. That golden rule, what would I want somebody to do to me? And so you can say, okay, well, I would want to be supported. I would want people to be able to tell me what I'm doing well so I can work on that and be there if I want to critique on my work and congratulate me when I win a ribbon, even if they were in the same contest. Things like that, right? There's so many different paths to it, but spreading that awesome is just going to help them, and it's going to help you. And I think everybody wins there. I don't think that anybody benefits from being nasty. It doesn't usually work that way. Especially your own being. Like, even the people that are being nasty, it eventually eats your soul and affects your artwork and does all sorts of horrible things. So be very mindful. It's not a consequenceless act. Katsuri91, great tips for curating your feed. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming here from YouTube too. Hi. Jody, all of a sudden the audio has synced. I willed it. That's so crazy that it disjointed and then it eventually came back. But probably makes this easier. Katie says, be right back. Just finished Ness taking pictures. I would love to see. Send pictures, Katie. Amy, I always want to try and encourage people that don't need that you don't need expensive supplies to customize and do great things. I used to use a candle and an X-Acto knife to move horse limbs before I had a Dremel. Me too! And like, you got to start where you are. Maybe it's ideal to have artist quality pigments and the best of the best, but you got to start somewhere, and you're never going to get to here if you never let yourself start here. And there has to be entry points for everyone, because not everybody has the ability to buy all the things that you need. Not everybody can afford a Dremel. They're not super cheap. Not everybody can afford a 3D printer or ZBrush or like the ridiculous oil paints, because oil paints in particular are really expensive, or really stupid brushes. Stupid brushes. Like this thing. This is, I had to replace one of my Series 7 brushes, and they want like $41.99. I got it on sale. $41.95. I got it on sale for 15% off, but that's still ridiculous for a little brush. Never, as a kid, it was what I could buy from the dollar store. Even in high school, when I was first getting into the hobby, I was focusing on like dollar store paints and whatever I could find at a thrift shop, or using a candle to bend a body, because I sure wasn't able to afford like an embossing gun or a heat gun or anything like that. So I think there needs to be a lot of compassion too for people starting where they are, because not everybody starts on an equal playing field. Some people have really rich parents and they just buy them all the stuff and then they don't need to do the thing. Or they have a lot of money themselves and they get into this hobby as an adult and they just spend, or they don't. Maybe they're just on retirement income and they don't have all this extra. But there's a lot of people in the hobby too that are very generous with extra supplies or doing sample kits or things like that, and trying to offer alternatives. So Katie's like, the audio is the thing. Patricia, thank you for all that you do. Thank you. I hope these are helpful. I try. It's a lot. Being an artist in the hobby is a lot. There's so many different things and there's so many topics I could cover. There's the balance of the struggle between realism and art and trying to find something that works in a model horse world, which is different than the fine art world, where you end up having much more expression being kind of valued. And even that's kind of contentious. You get your different little puddles of like cliqueiness within the art world of, we like realism and we don't like realism and we like only abstract or contemporary or whatever, right? We're trying to make our pieces work in a world where people are putting them on a table, showing them against other people's work and classifying them under fairly realistic rules, but they still need to have that art part, or you see these pieces on a table and they don't have soul. Very complicated. Look at what we've made for ourselves. But this complication makes this special kind of magic that only the model horse hobby can really kind of capture. And maybe it's just that for us crazy horse people, but still that, which is why I love it and why I will fiercely protect it. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And I'm a huge advocate for people making their own models, because when I started because I couldn't afford the models themselves, let alone the customized ones that I loved so much and that I saw online. And it can be very disheartening to see something go for $500, $2,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 and go, I will never own that. I love it so much and I will never own that, or I will never be able to create that. And yeah, it's so hard, especially when you're not somebody that starts out with a lot of money. Like we lived on scraps, basically. Like a lot of times we didn't have a lot of food in the cupboard. My parents were always arguing about child support stuff. I wouldn't have new clothes to go to school in, so I would go to school with jeans that were riding up my legs because I was growing and we couldn't afford new jeans, right? And some people, that's never their issue. And so we're all starting at different places. But that barrier to entry for starting being creative in the model horse hobby, I don't think needs to be there. And that talent barrier for entry even, because it's good to just do artsy stuff. You don't need to make the most amazing thing ever. It's just good for your soul to make things. So I hope that no matter what, you don't get yourself wrapped up in needing to make perfect things, and don't get yourself wrapped up in how perfect other people might look and what their stuff is. Try and be inspired by it, and don't let that keep you from doing the thing that is going to make your insides more beautiful, because that's what it does. It heals you. It works its own magic on you. Like the models, they saved me in so many ways, including being involved creatively. And there's so many ways to be involved creatively that I don't want anybody to think that they can't. So that's my soapbox. Let's see if we got any chats, because now I've started to do the thing. Jody said I started with the little paint pots from Breyer, and a lot of people do. They go to a Breyer painting thing and they get the cheap acrylics and they're painting, and it's frustrating as all get out, because a lot of times those materials take finessing more so than the crazier materials, which is kind of interesting. So it's its own. I could do like 500 topics. My brain's doing the spider web thing and I'm trying to remember my trains of thoughts, but you get these awesome art supplies that are expensive, and they actually make your art easier to create because you're not fighting the materials. But there's a lot of things you can learn by having to fight your materials and learn how to work with them in that way. And that has a lot of value that I think a lot of people write off. So yeah. Katsuri, or Kusuri, sorry. My biggest roadblock is just starting a project or continuing after I get stuck. Prepping is a big hurdle, especially with Breyers, and I'm scared of sculpting back details after prepping. It can be very intimidating, because if it's not your base skill set, that you pick up a horse and you're like, I don't want to wreck it. And that's usually where that comes from. It's like, I don't want to wreck this. I don't want to pick up this blank canvas and ruin it. But with painting, you can always strip it and you can always redo sculpting. And with Breyers, it's very rare that somebody irreparably destroys them. Brings to mind the one person that irreparably destroyed a juggernaut resin by sandblasting it, not soda blasting it. I wouldn't even recommend soda blasting resins at all, but yeah. Like I've cut Sharif heads off, and I always have that thought of, like, I take an expensive resin, I cut its head off, grind its whole face down to nothing, and go, ooh, well, this is going to go one of two ways. So even the people that are at the top have those same kind of fears and insecurities, and that voice is always there saying, you're probably going to mess this up. But it's the experience of knowing, okay, if I trust the process, this will turn out awesome. Or at least be something that I can fix and eventually make it awesome. So giving yourself that forgiveness of being able to make mistakes is huge, because a lot of us say, oh, I can't make a mistake. It has to be perfect from the get-go. And you're going to learn so much more from your mistakes that you need to be able to allow yourself to do that. And then sculpting back in details can be helpful if you can look at either other pictures of that same model to see what those details look like, or take pictures before you go in and do prepping. And with time, that confidence comes more as you do more. So you have to do more to get there. So you see, it's kind of a catch-22, but yeah. And then starting a project from scratch can be very intimidating. One of the things that people use for paintings or sketching is just scribble something. And so you can take a piece of clay or a bundle of clay and make something weird out of it. Or just, I use the Pomodoro technique. So you take a timer and I'll do 15 or 20 minutes. And mine's very visual, which is really nice. And it'll count down those 15 minutes very visually so I can see at a glance what it is, and goes off. So I have 15 minutes. And even if it's just staring at the horse for 15 minutes, I have to do it. So I will usually tinker or start and break things down into smaller chunks and go, okay, if I'm doing white markings, I'll just kind of sketch out what I think, or draw something on the iPad on an overlay, take a photo of it and draw the white markings in that way, so that I don't have to 100% guarantee that that's going to work. Put it on a model first before doing any overlay, and then go, I don't like it. I can see what it's going to look like. Sometimes that's helpful, doing Photoshop type mockups or iPad mockups. To Marion, I started dipping models in spray paint. My dad's spray paint, apple barrel paints, dollar store and Walmart brushes, and hand painted everything I customized because I couldn't afford an airbrush or pastels for quite a while. And I very slowly invested in more expensive art supplies as I grew. See, you got to start everywhere from somewhere. Like this little guy is not even proper epoxy. That is liquid epoxy that I used to try and resculpt him. I heated him with a candle. Yes, I did light him on fire. This is cheap dollar store, Walmart paint. As you can see, it's not blended at all. It is a hot mess of stuff. Like, I can't even get across how bad this paint job is over the pictures. But like this. So if I didn't start here and if I let myself go, well, liquid epoxy sucks, which it did. That was a bad decision. But I didn't let any of that get in my way. And now I'm making horses for the company that I started lighting them on fire with. So yeah, you never know where it's going to take you, right? But you have to start there. And those, it's always good to keep pieces like that so that you can remember, or at least photos of them, remember them for later. And you could always repaint them. You could always strip them. You could always redo them. I have a bucket full of abandoned souls of things that kind of got there. And then I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to finish this. And it's okay to set them on the shelf and let them marinate and come back to them later. It's okay to abandon projects too. I do suggest trying to finish as many as you can because you will learn more from finishing them than half starting them and having 5 million around, which I'm also very guilty of. So it's okay. I'm human too. Jody says, give yourself grace, give your friends acceptance, give strangers kindness. This is the mantra that I have on my wall. I like that a lot. So give yourself grace, give your friends acceptance, and give strangers kindness. That do unto others part is always like, people get so nasty online. It's like, how would you feel if roles were reversed and that person was doing that to you? Especially when, like, if somebody's a big name, it's so hard to see that happen. But anyway, Donna says, I love the challenge of working with materials I have on hand and not spending a fortune on expensive supplies. I found for myself that I can create something beautiful out of what I have on hand. And there's a huge point of pride in that too, being able to create something out of nothing and be like, I didn't have to go buy all these expensive supplies to make something gorgeous. I just did it. I didn't let any of that stuff stand in my way. And then it says, when I can't afford the expensive supplies, it'll be breezy. And exactly. If you learn to work with what you have on hand, nothing is ever going to stop you. You're not going to be like, I don't have the lapis lazuli from Egypt paint, so I can't paint the pretty blue pony. It's going to stop me from doing the thing. Like, no. And I don't know why I have like snooty half English voice, but I'm part English, so I can do it. But yeah, you don't let that stand in your way, right? Whereas other people will let the smallest little thing just totally stick in their gears and stop the whole machine. So there's a lot to being able to have that kind of gumption, right? You're like, I can just keep going. Doesn't matter. Oh, I don't have the, and I've done that too, where I'm like, oh, I don't have the thing. Can I make it? Can I mix colors to make that? Can I add pigment to something to do the thing? I like how my one's leg now. It's getting tired. It's indicating the crazy in my brain. My one blinker's on. Yeah, so there's lots and lots and lots and lots of benefits that I think people just skim right over when it comes to stuff like that. We've kind of gone off topic, but that's okay. Kusuri91, I started my craft supply hoard coupon by coupon and with sales. That is also an excellent way to do it. You can sometimes find artists that are clearing out some of their stuff at local sales, garage sales, marketplace, things like that as well. So don't ever totally write that off. And there's a huge thing in art where people say it's really bad to have lots and lots of variety in your paints. You want to be able to take a very core set of paints, because you see people take their primary colors and then make so many more colors out of it. So you don't have to have that. You don't, and a lot of times those colors that sit on my wall and I don't touch them, I was just like, that tube was pretty and I used it once. It's kind of a waste, right? So yeah, it's a thing. But starting with coupons, starting with finds, asking around, and you can also post ISOs online if there's a specific color, like you need burnt sienna in oils. And does anybody have an extra one they'd be willing to sell, or like a partial tube? That's another way to do it, because tons of us have multiples of tubes and we could probably get rid of some here and there, right? Amy says, on the other perspective, sometimes it's difficult to work with more expensive supplies because you're used to using your technique with cheap ones for so long. And that does change. So the different supplies will have different ways of working with them. It's kind of why you shouldn't kind of serially jump between mediums. I'm like the worst serial jumping between mediums person, but you will get better faster, like we talked about last stream, if you stick with the same material and really learn how to work with it, because each of them will have their own techniques and tricks that work. So like I worked with Aves epoxy for forever, and then I switched to Magic Sculpt, and I really like the way Magic Sculpt works because it works with me, and it doesn't work for everybody. There's some people that prefer Aves epoxy sculpt well above Magic Sculpt. So it's personal preference too. Some people just absolutely hate working with oil paints. Some people, they would not want to work with acrylics ever. And some people prefer cheap acrylics over expensive acrylics. It's really, and each has its own differences because you get different binders in the paints, and you get different techniques that work, and different dry times, and different intensities of the color. And there's just so many, like some they're easier to do dapples with, some it's easier to do other stuff with. It's just all over the board. So that's, yeah, a huge thing too. If you're used to working with one type, it's very hard to switch between. So we got a little bit off topic, but that's okay. That's what the chat's here for. You kind of direct where I go a little bit. So yeah, let's see if I covered my notes. And the thing that you don't see often too, going back to kind of that comparing things, is not everybody's going to show you the ones that didn't work. They're not going to show you their first pieces to see where they came from, which can be a very important part of the journey. Now, this isn't the first thing I ever painted, but this is kind of a funny fail to me. I didn't have any guidance. I was just kind of running off whatever, and it is not, yeah, I slap paint on it, and so he gets to stay here because he's cute. I did like that he is doing his little Levad though, but that's okay. But you're not going to see that. You're not going to see the fails. They're not going to talk about their struggles and how they had to rip the face off 500 times and how they didn't feel like they were good enough. So comparing yourself to other people when all you're seeing is the pretty curated online version, just remember, it's like seeing people naked when you're talking to them in like the presentation style. You can see them and you're like, behind all that, I bet you there's lots of like tears and broken things and messed up projects. Like I can't even think I'm trying to think of something that I did recently that just didn't work. Like when I was doing the Ness Masters and I was painting the artist proofs, I put the resin on them and it stayed sticky, and I was like, well, okay. I cured it, stayed sticky. This one kind of picked up a whole bunch of lint apparently because it was sticky, and I was like, that's okay. I just need pretty pictures of the colored things. I'm not selling them, and I will fix them if I sell them. It's just like you put in a whole bunch of effort and it's like you just want to cry. But the effect was too cool to pass up on. I wanted the drippy effect. So just keep in mind that for every win you're seeing, you're probably seeing iceberg of like at least 40% fails underneath that, or struggles at least. And that struggles probably like 80% struggle to 10 to 20% success, because there's a little bit of like crying and stuff in between there to buffer it. But yeah. Even with me, like I try and be fairly open about some of the struggles and things that I'm going through, but we're always human. It's that connecting to the human underneath the thing that lets everybody realize that we're all just humans making mistakes and messing around. And it helps to see people as humans, whether you like them or not, or agree with them not, or like hold them up as some sort of god on a pedestal or not, or below you, right? We're all just humans, and that's kind of where we all connect. So I guess on that note, I will. Candy, my first complete drastic. I know, they just turned into like mushy balls of what did I do? This is not what I was hoping to achieve. Jody, that's so true. I don't even like showing myself the fails. Exactly. So a lot of people hide their fails and their insecurities and their imperfections. You put makeup on, you put pretty clothes on, you like clean the house when people come over. It's all the same stuff. It all applies to the art too, but that's like a little piece of our soul. So it's even more raw in some way. Donna, I've used both oils and acrylic paint. I have a reaction to oil and the cleaning chemicals. They can be a little harsh. So I've noticed that with a few people. So I only use acrylics now. People ask me how I blend my acrylics to where they look like they're airbrushed. And I tell them, practice, practice, practice. Exactly. And you can get, the people like you who can hand blend acrylics, that's a whole skill level that I don't possess. Trying to blend the hand painted acrylics is definitely a feat to be very, very proud of, whether it's in cheap paint or not, because I don't know, it takes a lot of skill, and that's makes you focus on that, where you can do things like that. If you don't have the easy out of like, oh, I can just go buy a $700 airbrush that does micros, right? So anyway. All right, I think that covers that topic for us. So curating your feed and making sure that you're seeing the stuff that you want to see, the stuff that's energizing you, not the stuff that's draining you, and even limiting that. Maybe if the really big stuff is just too much and triggering that envy and that jealousy, you can tone that back. Look at the people around you, support the people around you. The new ones coming up, that can usually really boost your ability to not try and compare as much. And don't scroll quite as much. Do your work, because the more you do your work, the better you're going to get, and the more you're going to be like, oh, I'm actually at the same level as these people. But you're always going to see those insecurities in your work and those imperfections. So you still along the way have to learn how to process that. So yeah. My hyperfixation for this week was, what did I do? I was trying to figure out all these different Kuzma crazy things with the shipping. So that was partially my hyperfixation. And then I was kind of really enjoying getting back into the idea of the fountain pens again, because I talked about that the last time. And just filling up my pens and enjoying the simple pleasure, because sometimes you get lost in the like forest and you miss the trees. Little shiny, and I can't show you my to-do list, darn it. Little shiny notes, like my to-do list being written in sparkly, color shifty ink, just brings the most simple pleasure, and I just love it. So little things like that, or I'm making myself these protein powder drinks in the morning, and because I sometimes forget to eat as an artist, and I found that that's a really good trick for not starving myself and then eating crappy things when I decide that I'm dying of hunger at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm adding fun things into it. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna make like put a little bit of coffee in it, and then put a little bit of like I've been doing, you guys can get mad. It is themed. Um, like it's like a peppermint mocha. So you put peppermint in your like chocolate shake thing, and then you put coffee in it. So it's like winning all the things. And then I have caffeine and sustenance at the same time. So I don't just forget to drink everything but coffee. So it's a little life hack. Or little fun things like the little mini marshmallows you can get for hot chocolate, going and buying myself those, like the little things that make my day better. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do the thing. This is awesome. So little things like that. Jody, my hyperfixation is trying to learn Excel. Good luck. Excel is its own whole beast. That's like the programming thing. I've been delving into all the back-end programming stuff, and it's its own thing. My goodness. But it's a very amazing tool, and it can do, really cool stuff. See? My timer went up. That's been 15 minutes that I ranted. Oh, goodness. I know. Shush. 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 I don't know how to shush it. So it's like your ADHD. You probably forgot the first beep. So I'm giving you a second beep to remind you. Yeah. And other than that, what else? Christmas. I've been very excited about Christmas. So, and trying to find things for the art and putting things out, and this wonderful new technique of this new stickers. So many things. There's like 500 hyperfixations a day, so it's trying to narrow it down and be like, what's my hyperfixation for the week? Sparkly ink. Because I've got a whole drawer, right? You got to go through like right here. There's like a whole thing of ink, and I have colors I can mix together, and I love mixing them together because you can get really cool mixes, like the free ink that we got at the event last 2 weeks ago. I want to put mica powder in, so Pearl-Ex, and it will be sparkly because everything has to be sparkly. It's a rule. It's way more fun when it's sparkly. All right, on that note, I will let you guys carry on. I should have a preview of that sticker coming soon. I won't have a picture of the actual effect of it probably very soon, but trust me, it will be amazing. And your stickers will ship out, and I'm working on getting that People's Choice medallion done because I think you guys are going to be excited about that one too. And we will see you next Sunday. Thank you for being part of this. You can always suggest topics for things for me to rant on or tell you more about from my experience and my history. So yeah, if you're struggling with something, hit me up, let me know, and we can touch on it. And hopefully that helps make our community stronger and us stronger as artists, and just, yeah, fosters the thing that we want in life. All right. Love you guys. I will see you next time. Don't feed the